What would you say is the difference maker through the first 5 games entering Game 6 of these finals, Doris?
Yeah, I think I'd point to the play of the respective stars, and I try to remember as I call these games, Rich, that there is 10 years difference and 6 finals experience difference between Jayson Tatum and Stephen Curry. And I think for Jayson, 2 things are in play the deeper this wears on. Obviously inexperience, but also then fatigue, I think, contributing to some of his turnovers. And we talk all the time, Rich, about, you have to have great physical and mental stamina to play against Stephen Curry. And we're talking about when you're guarding. I think what's getting overlooked is the level of defense being played by the Golden State Warriors. So I think many things, obviously, but I look directly to the best players between these 2 teams.
And what would you say, I kind of touched upon this with your colleague Jeff Van Gundy, also calling these finals for the worldwide leader. I touched upon it with him yesterday about the Celtics' reactions to some of these calls and how the fourth quarter you could really point to their demeanor and say that was part of their downfall in Game 5, Doris.
100%, and I think it goes back even further than that because I had the Eastern Conference Finals as well. I had part of their Milwaukee series, and Rich, to me, that's immaturity as well. And far too often, listen, it's team-wide, and I've had this discussion. I've actually talked to Jayson Tatum's mom, his trainer Drew Hanlon. I said, your son is incredibly talented, and listen, there's frustration because I don't think necessarily he gets a lot of calls. But every time you throw your hands up in the air, for that second and a half that your hands are in the air, Golden State is sprinting in the other direction, getting 5-on-4 and 4-on-3s. And listen, they're human. All of us are human. They're reacting to you showing them up. And I think it's the finals. Like maybe in round 1, 2, and 3, you can get over with that, but not against this Golden State Warrior team who is so dangerous in transition. These half-court defenses are so good. Both of these teams are well below their offensive rating in the half court in the regular season and the early rounds because that's how high level this is. And all of those momentary mistakes because of your frustration is absolutely putting you at a deficit.
And Andrew Wiggins has come to the fore, certainly in games 4 and 5, a combined stat line of 43 points and 29 rebounds. He has been all that plus the biscuit that the Timberwolves thought he could be when they drafted him first overall in 2014 out of Kansas. Where do you think this is coming from, Doris?
Yeah, I have to be honest with you. It gives me great joy, and I'm going to tell you unequivocally that when he was in Minnesota, I could be critical of him. You get captivated by this guy's physical tools athletically, but then the basketball skill set as well, the shot making, the tough twos that are always so critical in these environments. Listen, he's the one guy who can go and get his own when the beautiful game or Steph's pick and roll is not working. And there were moments where I thought the weight of a couple of his shots were truly extraordinary, and I thought took some of the wind out of the sails of Boston. And it's great, right? I go back to when he arrived in Minnesota. I think he was 19 years old, Rich. I'm not 100% sure. And some of the criticism was warranted. We questioned whether he cared deeply about the game, how passionate was his competitive heart. But boy, oh boy, isn't it like wonderful to see someone who had come through so much perform on this stage and live up to all the physical gifts he has. And listen, we talk about Boston's defense. Gary Payton II and Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green are influencing their ability to win games with what they're doing defensively. To see Andrew Wiggins get down in the stance and contest and contain and pressure Jayson Tatum into some of these turnovers, this is something else to watch.